Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's episode we're going to be checking out a project called the OneCore API for Windows XP and Windows Server 2003, which is a compatibility layer that lets you run a whole bunch of modern software on these over 20-year-old operating systems. Now we've taken a look at projects like this before, both Kernel X and All Key for Applications come to mind, but the amount of stuff you can run with OneCore is just insane, and it honestly doesn't even seem like it should be possible. And this project is nothing new, by the way. It's been around for a while now, but back in January it received its first major update in about a year that brought numerous improvements to it, allows you to run more up-to-date versions of applications with it, and decrease the amount of packages you have to install, because now it's just a single exe file instead of like 4 or 5 that you had to go through before. And yes, as you probably saw, there is a 32-bit and a 64-bit version of this. So we are in a 32-bit install of Windows XP today, which is still going to limit the amount of applications we can run with this because there's a lot of applications these days that require a 64-bit install of Windows to work. I just figured we'd go with the 32-bit release of XP because it was the more popular one. So I've got this updated to Service Pack 3, and I also have all of the post-SP3 updates installed through Legacy Update, which I made a video on a while back. So you want to make sure that you go through that so that, everything works properly with OneCore here. So we're going to begin by just running the setup executable. Click on run, extract everything. And yeah, very simple looking setup wizard. This is actually what it looks like if you were going to install a Windows XP service pack. So you got your license agreement here. We're going to agree to it. And yeah, just let it install and update our system. Oh, and it's worth noting, by the way, you will have to be connected to the internet to go through this install because it does run a little wget command there. And we're done. So we're going to click on finish, have it restart the system. And while it's doing that, I'll tell you a little bit more about OneCore because this does more than just let you run newer versions of applications. It also increases the amount of memory that your system can utilize. So for 32-bit, it brings it up to 128 gigabytes, and for 64-bit, brings it up to 2 terabytes of potential memory. And it also lets you use newer hardware devices with these systems, and it supports every, language version of XP and Server 2003 that was released. And by the way, this whole thing is developed by a single person, which is pretty freaking insane. So I've got a handful of applications copied over to this system, and we're going to start things off by trying to run the latest version of Firefox, as of me filming this video, 135.0. Now, if we run this just on its own, it will do what you would expect it to do. It's going to extract here, and then it will error out and say, oh, sorry, you got to be using Windows 10 or later. So we're just going to cancel out of that. And that's because we have to actually right-click on this, go to Properties, go to Compatibility, and run this program in compatibility mode. But you'll notice this drop-down menu has a lot more options than it typically does. We can go all the way up to Windows 11 24H2. So we're going to select that, click OK, and now double-click on this, and we'll be able to go through the setup just like we'd be able to do on a Windows 11 system. Now, you don't always have to enable compatibility mode. Something that I found is there are applications that just work without changing that at all. In fact, Firefox is one of those. Once we get the application installed, you can just run it by double-clicking on it without changing those settings at all. And I'll just show you, we'll launch Firefox now, which is not going to have the compatibility settings applied. Although it does take a little while to start up, understandably so, because, this computer is, over 20 years old at this point. And that is another thing. Obviously, the hardware you're using is going to have a major impact on your ability to run these applications. But the fact that we can get the latest version of Firefox running under Windows XP is just insane. And that, we haven't even touched on these other applications yet. And here we go. It is starting up, though it's definitely, definitely showing a little bit of lag here. Now we just got a whole black screen. Look at that. Okay, slowly coming back, like panel by panel here. So yeah, this does execute without having the compatibility mode applied, but we're gonna try to turn that on to see if maybe it helps things a little bit. Oh, there we go. Look at that. But yeah, you can see like this system is definitely having some trouble here running this, and that's just because we have like 1.5 gigs of RAM. This is an old Pentium 4 processor, and so it's not really going to run this like super well, but it does run it. Let's see if we can go to, I don't know, the old net, because that's kind of what we always do. So I've typed out that address, We're just waiting for those keystrokes to register in Firefox here. Oh, there we go. Okay, it just showed up in there. Let's see if we can hit enter, if I can select the bar again. It is definitely struggling here. You know what? Why don't we just try to... oh, there we go. Okay, it just showed up. Just taking a while to, like, update everything. I think I'm going to go ahead and just end this process, or end the multiple Firefox processes, that, if I can actually find the end process button, because the task manager window is getting all glitched out. Okay, there we go. So that got rid of it all. So we'll right click, go into properties here, go to our compatibility, and run this in compatibility mode for 11, and we'll run it again. Yeah, right off the bat, doesn't really look like that's doing much, because it is taking about the same amount of time to start up here. We haven't seen the window come up yet. And if I go into Task Manager, we can see... Oh, look at that. It didn't even run. That's interesting. Because, yeah, I don't see the process in here. Let's try to maybe run that again. It is just closing immediately. Okay, this is something that I noticed happening before when I was testing some of this stuff off camera. So yeah, when you have it in compatibility mode, it just immediately closes. So you actually cannot run, at least on this system here, we can't run Firefox in compatibility mode. If I set this to maybe, let's do like Windows 10, see if that makes a difference. I don't think it will. So Firefox, and then it closes immediately. Because yeah, we do not see that in here at all. So okay, we got to go in here and just disable this entirely, and then run it again, and you'll see that, yeah, it will stay in here. So I think we're going to move on to some of these other applications that I have copied over here, because, I mean, you saw the kind of experience we're getting with Firefox. Not particularly great on this system, but I just want to point out that it is absolutely nuts that we can get the latest version of Firefox working under Windows XP. The GitHub page also says you can use the latest version of Chrome as well, which is, again, just really incredible. So one of the other things I have is LibreOffice Portable. The reason why I have the Portable installer is because the regular installer is an MSI file that you cannot apply a compatibility mode to, and when you run it, it just asks for Windows 7 Service Pack 1 or later. This one here, let's see if we can just run this installer without any compatibility mode layer applied. And it seems to be working well so far. So the installer came up, LibreOffice Portable. We'll just install, yeah, everything else is fine. And yeah, we'll just do the directory that it's currently in. Alright, looks like it's done, so let's just run LibreOffice Portable and see what we get. Okay, requires Windows 7 or later, running Windows XP, so it cannot be started. So here is, I guess, the launcher, but we've got the individual like applications as well. So if we right-click on this, go to compatibility, run this in compatibility mode, we can just do Windows 7 if we want to, because that is the minimum that you need. Let's see what this window is about in the back here. Okay, well, it's probably just like a splash screen or something, because I mean we don't see anything in the taskbar yet. So yeah, we'll give it some more time, see if we get anywhere. Well, it's been a little bit here. By this time, Firefox had already started, so I don't really think we're getting anywhere. And it is, yeah, there is an exe here running in Task Manager. We're just gonna close that, or just forcibly terminate the process. We still have that splash screen going. So yeah, I wonder what that is. I don't really see. I mean, it could be any one of these, like an soffice.bin, soffice.exe maybe. Yep, it was that. It was soffice.bin. So alright, close out of that. So that's the launcher. Let's see if we can maybe run the writer, LibreOffice Writer Portable. I imagine if we just run this on its own, it did not close properly and will now clean up. Please then start LibreOffice Portable again manually. Okay, so let's run it again. Okay, so this is running without a compatibility layer applied. At least it's coming up with the splash screen again, but don't really think, yeah, it might just end up doing the same thing. Now, this was, this version of LibreOffice, which is the latest, was listed as a supported version on the GitHub page. So it's supposed to work with this. I imagine this is just, because of the hardware that I'm using here. Alright, well, looks like it's the same story going on with this, so we're just going to end that process. And yeah, just ending that bin process gets rid of all the other ones there. So let's try to maybe set this in compatibility mode here for Windows 7. We could also try Windows 11. I don't really think that would make a difference, because it seems like this is just not, you know, wanting to actually start up completely. But yeah, here's the three processes that run: soffice.exe.bin and LibreOffice portable.exe. And yeah, we'll give it some time here, but I imagine we're gonna be doing the same thing, which is nothing. All right, yep, not looking good. Just as a last attempt here, I don't know, let's try maybe, I mean, this is not, it's not gonna make a difference if we try like LibreOffice Calc or whatever, but let's just maybe select Windows 11 and just try to run this. But I imagine we're gonna just be doing the exact same thing, because yeah, it immediately freezes up, and we can just start doing some window painting. So yeah, LibreOffice looks like we're not really going to be able to run on here, unfortunately. But hey, we got the thing to install, and we got the splash screen window to appear. So that is definitely something. One of the other things I have on here is OBS Studio. This is version 27.2.4, which is the last version to have a 32-bit release. So we're going to try to run this. Let's say you were wanting to do some content creation on Windows XP. You wanted to, you know, record your screen or do some live streaming. All right, we got the setup running. And yeah, requires Windows 7 or higher, cannot be installed due to extensive use of DirectX 10 features. So let's see if just by setting our compatibility mode to Windows 7 will do it for us. All right, that seemed to work. We got a shortcut on the desktop, so let's try to launch OBS Studio. And we get a file download warning for OBS Studio 32bit.ink for the shortcut. So yeah, we're gonna open that. And then run it. Apparently it couldn't, yeah, just unknown publisher. And then, yeah, of course, failed to start because some DLL was not found. Reinstalling may fix the problem. Let's see if we can change that with compatibility mode here. Because it did complain about, like, oh, it needs to have Windows 7 because of this DirectX stuff. So that may not actually change anything on here. Yeah, it's still going to error out. Okay, I just looked it up. This is actually a Visual C++ redistributable related error, so we have to install one of those packages. I just found the one we need. I copied it over to here, so we're going to try to run this. This is for Visual C++ 2015 to 2019. So I imagine this is not going to work on Windows XP, you know, natively, but we'll see if we can run it here. You know, we don't have a compatibility layer applied right now, and it looks like it is, yeah, it's initializing. So, yeah, alright, I guess OneCore's just doing its thing. And we're back, so let's see. I believe I have this set in, yeah, compatibility mode, so let's just double click on this and see if it can open up now. Which we're not getting that error message, so that's something. Whoops, OBS has crashed. Would you like to copy the crash log to the clipboard? Yeah, I don't want to copy the crash log to the clipboard. We will take a look at that and see. I imagine there's definitely something going on there. Let's try it under Windows 7. And same thing. Okay, let's just try it just without any compatibility mode layer. Yep, crashes immediately. Okay, so it's in our application data folder. Unhandled exception. Okay. Which apparently is a memory error, which does not surprise me because of how little memory that we have in this system. So again, the application installed just fine. One thing that I hope we can get working, I've got the Windows 7 games in here. This is one of those executables that just, you know, allows you to install these games on Windows 10 and Windows 11. And yeah, we're gonna run that here. Alternatively, we could just copy over the files from a Windows 7 32-bit installation, but this is a lot more convenient. So here we go. We're going to click on Next. We're going to grab everything. We'll grab those internet games as well. Why not? We'll install that, and we'll just uncheck both of those. We don't really need to learn more. And I think this does this add a folder to... Yes, it does. Okay, well, it pops everything into the games folder. Though you can see that... Yeah, we don't... Oh, did it replace the XP games? Because, yeah, okay, well, wait, we do have 2 Spider Solitaire games there, but, like, Solitaire, I don't see another one in here. You know, most of these, the icon is just that default program icon. So that's interesting, but let's see if we can run, like, Chess Titans. Not a valid Win32 application. Okay, that's actually a good thing, because I've seen the same thing happen before. Oh, wait a second, did it... No, it wouldn't have gotten the 64-bit release, would it? Okay, that could either be because we just installed the 64-bit copies of these games, or we just have to apply a compatibility mode filter, because I have seen in my testing that sometimes it will say not a valid Win32 application, but when you apply the compatibility filter, it works. So let's go to the C drive here and go into, I imagine, Program Files, Microsoft Games, yeah? Let's go to Chess and go to Properties. Oh, yeah, look at that. We can't even apply the compatibility filter. I think we just installed the 64-bit applications. I think that's totally what we did. Okay, so I got to go ahead and make sure I grab the right one. Okay, so I've just copied over the 32-bit versions of these games from my 32-bit install of Windows 7. I believe we can go into Control Panel and into Add or Remove Programs, and there should be a listing for the games that we just installed in here. It doesn't actually look like there is. Look at that. Alright, so we'll just have to go into my computer, not Windows, Program Files, Microsoft Games. Oh, there it is, unwin7games.exe. Okay, so we can run this on installer. There we go. Alright, so we'll get rid of all that. It still keeps the Microsoft Games folder, though. That's great, because we can go into this here, do a Control-A, Control-C, Control-V, paste all that over. And then I also have the cardgames.dll file, which we have to drop into System32. So let's go into there, see Windows System32, and paste that in here. And yeah, I think this is just the copy from the previous install. So we'll just hit yes and override that. And yeah, let's see if we can go into Chess. So now we have, like the actual icon shows up. And if we go into Properties, we have compatibility settings. Let's see if we can run this just on its own. Which we can! Look at that! Alright, we finally got something. I mean, of course, well, the game launches. Let's see if it actually, if we can do it. We'll do intermediate here. I imagine it's probably going to have the most trouble with Chess Titans, because this, is a 3D, like, interactive game. It's supposed to be doing an animation right now of, like, rotating the board. Doesn't seem to be doing that. And yeah, the whole system is kind of locked up. Actually, yeah, now the mouse cursor stopped moving. Okay, so... well, again, we got it to run. But, yeah, I'm going to try... I mean, we'll give it some time here. We'll see if it recovers. But I'm going to try the other card games as well. I imagine those will run a little bit better, but we'll see. Alright, well, it's been about a half hour or so, and yeah, the system just froze up and never recovered, so I had to do a forced restart. And we're going to go in and try that again. So we'll go into Program Files, go back to our Microsoft Games. And did I apply a compatibility filter? I did not. So let's actually just try to run this in compatibility mode for Windows 7 Service Pack 1. I don't really think this will do anything, but hey, it's worth a try, I guess. Oh, look at that. Okay, so yeah, totally, well, I mean, let's see if it freezes up or something. I just totally set myself up for that one, not really paying attention here. Oh, he didn't take it. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and... I mean, I'm not going to sit here and play an entire game of chess, but yeah, Chess Titans works. Okay, that is pretty awesome. Although, let's see here. Well, it was working. I may have just jinxed myself because... yeah, can I do a Control-Alt-Delete here? I think it just froze up. We can still move the cursor around, but this is exactly what happened before, and then the cursor eventually just, stopped responding, and I had to do a forced restart. Yep, I'm gonna have to... Alright, there is a live, like... I mean, you can't make this stuff up, dude. Like, I literally said, it's working, and then it just immediately stops working. Alright, another forced restart. Alright, so let's try to launch just a plain old game of solitaire. So we'll hop into here, and I'm just going to apply the compatibility layer, just so, we're just running it as if it was running under Windows 7. So we'll get that set, double click, let's see what happens. Alright, there we go. So... this should, I mean, I would imagine this should perform a lot better, and wow, I have, like, no moves that I can do. That's fantastic. Jeez, what is this? What the heck is this starting mode? Jeez, man. Okay, there we go. We got something. So, I'll see if I can play this for a little bit, and, if it ends up crashing, that would kind of suck. But as of right now, oh, 2 aces, look at that. As of right now, it seems to be doing pretty well. Oh, and before anybody says anything, I know, I just realized I can move the 10 over to the jack, okay? You sometimes don't see all the moves, man, okay? Well, I'm out of moves, but I was able to play for 183 seconds without any, you know, slowdowns or anything like that. So that's pretty awesome. Why don't we try one more? Let's do Minesweeper. Why not? Go ahead and not rename that, but I'm just going to immediately go and apply the compatibility layer again. And we'll just do a beginner here. I always liked this version of Minesweeper. Oh, that's a great start, isn't it? Yeah, you know, one thing that I am curious about is we should still have the original XP version on here. You know, see what's interesting is, that's interesting. I guess something installed like a non-English thing or something. But yeah, so it got rid of, well, Spider Solitaire's still in here. Spider Solitaire, Pinball, Internet Reversing, and Internet Hearts are the only like original XP games that are still in here, and you know, they, I imagine, all will work fine. So here's Space Cadet Pinball. So that's working. We can go in here and launch Spider Solitaire. So here's the XP version of Spider Solitaire. But we should, I don't know, maybe it did override, like, the executable for Solitaire is just Sol. Yeah, okay, so here's regular Solitaire. So these games are still on here. So yeah, you can totally just go and play the original XP games if you want, but going through that first installer we saw just goes in here and you know, gets rid of all the XP games from this games folder when you run it on XP. I guess that's a side effect of it. But yeah, I mean, you see those work. We're not going to bother saving that, and that was everything that I had in here to go through. And as you can see, I mean, it's pretty freaking awesome what you can do with this. Even though we weren't able to get like Firefox to work like 100%, OBS Studio wouldn't work, LibreOffice, nothing would actually open up. But even just getting those programs installed under Windows XP, and again, in a virtual machine, when I tested these on my main computer, it was able to run Firefox and LibreOffice just fine. So this is just because of the hardware that I'm running this on. But it's just a really incredible project, and the fact that it's maintained and developed by a single person, it makes it even more impressive. So definitely go ahead and check out the OneCore API. I'll have that link down below. And yeah, that pretty much is going to wrap it up for this episode. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, maybe consider becoming a patron or a channel member to get early access to these videos before anybody else. But either way, as always, I will see you all in the next video.